It is always a blessing to welcome a child to the family. This is the opportunity that lets individuals or couples enjoy the tasks and perks of parenthood. Even couples who can't bear a child can enjoy this wonderful experience through the adoption process. Adopting a child makes it possible for couples to fill whatever is lacking in the growth of their family. Adopting a child. The first thing a couple seeking to adopt a child will do is to approach an adoption or placement agency who can help in the process. The agency has the capability to assist the couple and match them with a child that will fit their request. The agency can match the background and characteristics of the child. More often, it is important to match kids of the same race with the parents to avoid complications later on. It is also the task of the agency to determine that the adopting parent or parents are fit to support a child. They must be financially, emotionally and psychologically capable of welcoming a child in their homes. For couples, it is very crucial that the marriage is stable enough and that they are prepared in nurturing the child. They will also have to undergo counseling. Then, judicial approval has to be secured to legally establish the adoption. Some agencies may put other requirements aside from the basic ones. Some couples find the additional requirements quite restricting. The paperwork may be demanding, but keep in mind that this is only to ensure the best interests of the child and of the couple. However, it is best to be aware of certain conditions in the adoption process, like the identified adoption. What is an identified adoption? Adopting a child will entail certain judicial and formal processes. There are many ways which you can choose to adopt a child into your family. One known process is the identified adoption. An identified adoption is a process where the adopting parents get to know the biological parents of the child. This can even be more peculiar in cases where the adoption is arranged by the placement agency with a birth mother. Just think of what Monica and Chandler in the Friends show went through in adopting their twins. You have to keep in mind that the identified adoption is more than just a mere formality you have to go through to adopt a child. There are certain consequences involved in the identified adoption. Be sure you know its pros and cons so that you can avoid complications later on. The pros of the identified adoption process. The identified adoption process can be advantageous in the sense that it allows the adopting parents to get to know personally the background of the child. Most people are very particular with genetics. They want to make sure that the birth mother is good enough to meet their expectations, even if it may only be limited with the physical characteristics of the parents. This process can also be more advantageous to the biological parents as they can personally appease themselves that their child will be in good hands. The cons of the identified adoption process. There are also cons in taking the identified adoption. Since the biological parents know the adopting parents, this could open up to some risks in the adoption process. It is typical for the both sets of parents to undergo counseling before formally perfecting the adoption process. However, this is no insurance that everyone will be amenable all throughout. There is a possibility that they will later on change their minds and go after the adopting parents. This can be bothersome, especially if they claim back the child. Another risk of having an identified adoption is the possibility of harassment. Some biological parents may take the opportunity to extort money from the adopting parents. It's not good to put a price to the child. However, if you end up with such unfortunate circumstances, then it will really be burdensome. Conclusion: be aware of the advantages and disadvantages of the identified adoption process. This way, you can be sure that you are making the right choice. It is always nice to welcome a child into the family without the worries of unnecessary consequences.